channel where there's some confirmation concerning the Snyder Cut. That not the Snyder Cut, sorry, the SNYDERVERSE. AT&T put up in terms of premiere content that has a tremendous subscriber base. The Snyder Cut was in the presentation, and it was specifically worded a specific way. Let me just make sure I get that specific wording for you guys. Hold on one second. I'm going to say it properly. Yes, it was worded like this: premiere content resonating with the subscriber base. It was one of four films. It was Godzilla versus Kong. There was Snyder Cut. There was the Never, what's it? The Never Enders or the Never Endings, something like that. And there was some other film. Those were all HBO Max originals except for Godzilla versus Kong. And that's amazing because remember, there were a lot of original content that was on HBO Max. We had Judah and the Black Messiah, Little Things. Supposedly those are performed Zack Snyder's Justice League somehow, some way. And we had, quarter one. This is quarter one. It's huge. There was no numbers, no figures by AT&T, but AT&T presented HBO Max original programming, and this was one of the four. And it's huge because what it says, there's so many things it says. And right now, actually, Sil Abdul Inc., he's still streaming over there with Zodwriter. So you guys should go check them out. But I just wanted to say, and I'm going to be very brief here with the stream, that this is epic. Let me tell you why it's epic, okay? Epic reason number one, because Zack Snyder's Justice League did so well and was so impactful that AT&T had to put it up there. You notice I was talking about the trades all the time and the misleading information the trades are giving you. The trades gave misleading information. Again, from Warner Media, I believe the Toby Emmerich side of things, because he is sort of partially overseeing HBO Max. His side of things seems to have, twisted the information and so on. We know that. And the trades keep on twisting information. But I'm so happy to say this is yet another cog in the wheel that tells us what AT&T wants to do. And I assured you guys, the Snyderverse is coming. Now, again, I don't know why people think this is some big thing. Some people are saying we have to wait a while to get Justice League 2 and 3. Listen. Justice League 2 is coming, okay? It's not next. It's not going to be next. It takes at least 2 to 3 years to make a movie, okay? So we're talking about 2023 or 2024. But 2 is going to come and then 3 is going to come right after it, okay? Shout out to Saul Martin. They would be beyond foolish to just let their cash crop slide past. Massive win. Tremendous win, Saul. Tremendous win. Guys, keep doing what you're doing. Don't change up nothing. The success that we got with the Snyder Cut is going to be even faster this time around. We're looking at a turnover of about 2 years before Justice League 2 comes out, I think. Because think about this. Zack Snyder, he's working on Army of the Dead. After that success, hopefully he'll be on board with HBO Max. Now the thing about it is he's probably going to have more creative control, because if Army of the Dead does well, that's going to be more clout for Zack Snyder, right? He also has people who are on his side. Jason Keeler, if you guys don't know, is a fan of Zack Snyder. Okay, he's a fan. Okay, he loves BVS. Okay. Now that doesn't mean because he's a fan that means that he's going to just give Zack Snyder the green light. Of course not. He, protocol, business, all that. But it's because of Jason Keeler, not because of John Stankley. John Stankley's AT&T. Jason Keeler is the guy that took the initiative to allow the Snyder Cut to exist. Okay? And whatever rigmaroles that Tommy Emmerich and these guys are doing, Jason Keeler can't say nothing. John Stankley couldn't even say anything. Okay, but he didn't need to. The presentation said it all. Okay, and like you said so correctly, Saul, they'd be nuts to invest $70 million in a movie that's going nowhere after that. There's no sequels. There's nothing coming up. They didn't invest $70 million into a movie, and with a loyal fan base that would stick around and watch that movie over and over and over and over and over and over. Ridiculous engagement. You got to be nuts. You got to be out of your clean, out of your mind. Look how this fan base behaves. They're still saying restore the Snyderverse. This fan base is loco. This fan base is all in. This fan base is dedicated to seeing Zack Snyder's Justice League on the screen. You got to be out of your goddamn stupid ass mind. I mean, not to capitalize on that. That fan base is in there for the long haul. They would stay with HBO Max just to see Zack Snyder's movies, and in the process, they'll also engage in other content, of course. That's a sure fan base. It's just a sure fan base. It's like you couldn't get it better than that. And Jason Keeler knows this. John Stankley knows this. They know this. Okay? This is not rocket science, right? They didn't just come into this thing pushing the Snyder Cut. They knew what they were doing. Okay? They knew what they were doing. And they're going to cap. And here's the thing. See, a lot of people are not thinking. This is chess, not checkers, right? Of course, maybe they don't have enough money to invest in Justice League 2 right now. But guess what? They have another tremendous currency generator in Suicide Squad, the Air Cut. Again, something that Warner Brothers dropped the ball on, and now they get a chance to exploit. Are you kidding me? Do you think Jason Keeler is not going to jump at the opportunity to get the Air Cut not just streaming on HBO Max, but I guarantee you, if James Gunn's Suicide Squad does well, that Air Cut is going to end up in the cinemas as well. Trust me. But it's up to James Gunn to pull it through with Suicide Squad. And there's another really critical piece in this whole puzzle. Because a lot of people are talking about a lot of things, and I was just thinking about it. And this is just my opinion, but nonetheless. James Gunn has been very supportive of us, the fans, Snyder Cut fans. Jim Lee has been supportive of us. James Gunn he knows what the value of the fans are. And the other thing that's very intriguing to me is the fact that James Gunn is able to work with Kevin Feige as well as with DC. Okay? He's in a very unique situation right now. He's getting to do his dream movie, which is Suicide Squad. He always wanted to do a Suicide Squad movie. And on top of that, he's still going to direct Guardians of the Galaxy 3. What am I saying? James Gunn is like a link that's a very unique link in the sense that he's giving Walter Hamada what he wants. So Hamada is going to be satisfied at the end of this Gunn movie because he's going to get a win. James Gunn is going to give him a win, I believe. So what that means is that Gunn is always, he's been continuously saying, hey, man, we want to, the fans are right to be doing what they're doing. Jim Lee saying the same thing. Jim Lee's like, we need to give everybody what they want. There are all kinds of different fans. We need to give the fans what they want. Jim Lee is of the same. I wish Jim Lee was the DC films. To be honest, I wish Jim Lee was the DC film head of DC films because Hamada has his own way. It's his way or the highway, right? Jim Lee is much more open-minded, and he's constantly. That's why he even presented the multiverse. He's constantly trying to work with people. And that's the kind of guy Zach is, right? And I just think that Jim Lee and Zach would have worked out so well if Jim Lee was the head of DC Films. This would never have been a problem. But Walter Hamada is the head of DC Films. So respect him, right? Go ahead, do your thing. I'm not blocking. Hamada wants to do Hamada's thing. Let Hamada do his thing. But don't block Zach from doing his thing. So here's the thing. If Suicide Squad does well, and Hamada gets a W. Okay, he hasn't gotten a W. I guess he could kind of claim Aquaman, but he hasn't gotten a W really. He hasn't gotten a clear W. He hasn't got a winner. You know. So let's say that James Gunn gets that winner for him. Right? He finally got one in the paint. And everybody's crying for the haircut. Why is it that you won't give the haircut? James Gunn's story is going to be different from David Ayer's story, so there's no comparison. It's not like James Gunn came in like Whedon and redid the haircut. James Gunn's telling a totally different story. What's to stop the haircut from happening? And happening in theaters? Why not? So I'm telling you that's the idea AT&T and HBO Max is going to come with. And if they can get that in the cinemas, and HBO Max now has a history, aside from Wonder Woman, of having some cinematic releases, some quality cinematic releases through their platform into the cinemas with Warner Media, the theatrical side of things. So what I'm saying is, what HBO Max can say is, okay, so we featured James Gunn Suicide Squad. Now you got to give us back something. We want to put David Ayer's cut into cinemas as well as putting it into our streaming platform, because we want to be able to say we stream things, our original content, but also we can put it into cinemas. Of course, that's going to be controversial because obviously, the theatrical side of things will say, no, man, we already got a Suicide Squad. Why do we need to put that Suicide Squad out there? Okay, so they're probably going to try and be selfish. And then I'm guessing help me out so I can help you. You gotta help me out so I can help you. We're the same company. Let me have a limited amount of viewings in theatrical releases in the United States of America in exchange for you using on my platform. Let me help you. We both can thrive. Nothing's gonna happen to James Gunn's Suicide Squad. It's finished its run, so let me have the haircut in cinemas, right? The point being this: Suicide Squad doesn't ever need to be connected because it's always different characters, it's different runs. Suicide Squad is something that it can be detached from each episode, so that's what makes it fresh. There's always new members on the team and stuff, new journeys, new aesthetics. So that's what's so cool about Suicide Squad. That's why James Gunn's Suicide Squad is never going to be in competition with David Ayer's Suicide Squad, especially if James Gunn's Suicide Squad is successful, which is what we should be rooting for. We should be rooting for James Gunn's Suicide Squad to be successful. If Wardell Hamada gets a win under his belt, he's going to be happy. Of course, he might try to box out the SNYDERVERSE because, of course, David Ayer's Suicide Squad would be a sort of SNYDERVERSE Suicide Squad. But here's the thing. You can't do that because AT&T and HBO Max is going to play hardball with them, right? They're going to want access to the theaters. Otherwise, HBO Max and AT&T will say, okay, so we just stream Aircut and see how it go. We can just roll streaming. And if Aircut, does some really good numbers, now what does the theatrical side do? Because, see, you got to think about it this way. They didn't put out the numbers for the Snyder Cut for a reason. Because they want both sides. They want the theatrical cut to be featured. They don't. But if they put out the numbers for if they had put the Snyder Cut numbers out, let's just say they did, and it blew everything out the water, then what's the need for a theatrical release? They could just shut that side down of Warner Brothers and just stream everything and just go totally into the streaming war, right? But they would never do that because that property, this is what they were discussing on the other channel, right? So that would make no sense. But if they push AT&T's okay, so you just want us to stream. Okay, fine. We're going to stream, but we're going to put the numbers out. We're going to put the numbers out of this haircut when we're done. And they can say, well, that's fine. It's cool. But I'm just saying, because now you're making it a versus thing. You got to work as a team. So if they decide want to put it in the cinemas, they should be allowed to put it in cinemas and limit. It may not be globally, or maybe select cinemas globally. so that they could get that cinematic, saying that we continue to put out original content in cinemas. And that's the key, because HBO Max wants to both go into cinemas, just like how Netflix is trying to go into cinemas as well. And HBO Max also wants to stream. Okay. Even though HBO Max is not Warner Brother Pictures, okay, they're like a sister company of it. All right. AT&T really wants to go into the streaming war. It's really streaming they really want to focus on. But they also want to be able to have the option to go into the cinemas as well, which is why they, it was had the same release date. Now they're going to have it after the run. They're going to put it out on HBO Max. So they're doing the after thing. But HBO Max might say, hey, since this is a re-release almost, this will come out the same time in the cinemas as, just like with Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat, which is a HBO Max original, is coming out the same time as it comes out in the cinema. So for the air cut, it would come out the same time as when it comes out in the cinema. That's how they'll do it, right? Of course, by next year, I think all the cinematic movies, because COVID's going away, they will have their cinematic run, and then afterwards they carry it over to HBO Max. So it's not going to be like how it is now. So all I'm saying is, my thing is this. I could see him out saying, well, while you're doing your HBO Max run with our product, you can't have your original product running in cinemas. And so, like, why not? You're not running it in the cinema anymore, so let me run this product in cinema. And because your product and my product on streaming, we don't want to have a streaming war necessarily, even though they would probably watch both anyway. So it probably boosts up the value, because if you got the first Suicide Squad, which is a curiosity, let's see what the air cut look like, and they would watch that probably and then watch Suicide Squad, James Gunn's Suicide Squad after. That's what they would probably do. So Suicide Squad being a hit would be a good thing for HBO Max, as well as it would be a good thing for the SNYDERVERSE. This is what I see what you guys say. Leroy Collins says, hello, great live. The SNYDERVERSE will not work. Well, we kind of know that not many people are interested in the SNYDERVERSE at this point in time. I'm not excited about the Flash movie. I'm not excited about Super Pets. That just doesn't make no sense to me. And James Gunn's movie doesn't excite me, but I will support James Gunn. The trailers didn't excite me, but I'm pretty sure his movie, he's going to make a good movie, I think. I hope. If not, well, so much for the SNYDERVERSE. But I do think that James Gunn is a good director, and so I think you're going to get some kind of quality. I don't know exactly what it will look like or anything, because we don't know anything. We don't know anything about the Suicide Squad movie, and that's good. And that comes out at the end of the year anyway. So in the interim, AT&T is showing that they can get people's attention. They have subscribers and people subscribing to the thing. This is a win. People like Sil Abdul was saying, this is a win. Let's take the win. And it's not just a win. It's a continual win. You guys need to do this. The following. Don't forget to still do the hashtags. Speak about the movie in whichever way. Music, whatever. If you guys got the HBO Max in the US, keep on watching the mother effing life out of that thing. Picachet says Mortal Kombat has not been announced for an international release yet, just like Godzilla vs. Kong. I wonder how long it will take for Air Cut's release to be available in my region. That's a great question. What we do know is in June, we'll be having HBO Max Caribbean. So that HBO Max is coming to my region. So hopefully HBO Max, by the time the air cut comes out, which will be probably next year, sometime next year, in 2022, probably the air cut will come out after Suicide Squad's run. I think 2022 is probably the year that'll happen. It's supposed to be the year of the Flash. So it's probably in between the Flash coming out and Suicide Squad's thing by Gunn. So somewhere in between there, it'll probably come out. And maybe have a theatrical run. Of course, Warner Brother Pictures, they have their own runs, how they run their movies in theaters, but I guess in limited theaters, you can have the air cut. And we're supposed to have actually the Snyder cut in limited theaters as well around the world. So that should be really cool. IMAX as well. So A lot more I want to say, but for now, I'm gonna catch you guys later. I am Christ, I am disciple. Let me leave you guys with a piece of scripture, and I'm out of here. The scripture this today comes from Philippians 4:32. I've told you guys this before, but nonetheless, be kind to one another. Always be kind to each other, and forgive each other, as God, for Christ's sake, forgave you. I'm gonna catch you guys later. Peace.